I've actually set this camera up differently by accident. I don't know what's happened. I can't fix it. So I'm trying to think what to do. I'm trying to think if this is good enough. This is too close. I don't know how this is going to work. I mean, this is a bit strange, working with a bigger looking screen, but I'm going to try it anyway. So my original is going to be something interesting, but I've just bumped something on this damn phone. I just can't work out how to kill it, how to get rid of it. So I don't know what's wrong. Sometimes technology can be a real pain in the ass. Well, photocopiers, we all know photocopiers are a pain in the ass. Even though I use them and I actually enjoy them, I still find them very annoying. And I can empathise with people who don't share my passion for this technology. It is a very, it is at best a very crude sort of technology. It's not something that many people like to deal with, especially in a stressful environment such as an office, which is where they're mostly located. They're not easy things to understand, and even I still have a long way to go. If I try to understand these, if I try to make these to get further into the demos, or should I say further into the features, my demos would probably go for too long. And we don't want the demos to go too long most of the time. Sometimes it's okay to have a really prolongated demo, and I do get prolongated ones quite often, very often. But I usually, my longest demo I've shot on this Galaxy S8 Plus was 10 minutes, nearly 10 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's really longest one I've done on this phone. But also, in the past, I've shot demos that go for like half an hour, 45 minutes, even a complete more than an hour, so it gets a bit much. I'm trying to think what colour we're going to use for this, because this one's a colourful one, so we're going to cancel it. But yeah, it can be really, some of my demos can just go on, and I think a lot of people probably find them, especially ordinary people who might stumble across my YouTube channel and might find it interesting. They might find my demos are a little bit too long-winded, which is to be expected because this is very complicated equipment. Stop this itching. Fuck, I hate it when I itch. But basically, it's really complicated, even though the technology, the features on there haven't really changed since the Biz Hubs, like the old 353, which I used to have, which died, and the C280, which was the first Biz Hub I ever used. And I used to use, it was in a public place, a chemist in Manly called Maloof's, and it was since replaced by a Konica Minolta rebadged company brand called Eneo, which is, there's a Konica Minolta machine with different badging and of course the spare parts. Some of the spare parts are apparently not interchangeable with Konica Minolta, so it's a real rip-off. Sherlock Hemlock, it's Sesame Street. I found this on the ground, but basically, and apparently the company called Eneo went out of business recently, so people like Maloof's, who run Maloof's Chemist, have obviously got a machine that, if it has broken down, it probably won't be fixable because the spare parts, some of them are not interchangeable. And if Eneo have gone out of business, well, the spare parts will be gone and the service. So you fucking wasted all that money on a fucking rebadge. So if you're going to buy a photocopier or a lease one, don't get a rebadge. Make sure it's an OEM, original equipment manufacturer. Even though Konica Minolta are assholes, you're better off going for Konica Minolta than a spin-off brand like Eneo. But Eneo no longer exists anymore, I heard. Anyway, that looks quite interesting. It's a bit big. We're going to have to shrink it a bit vertically. But basically, Eneo were just like, they disappeared. They're not an OEM. They're just rebadgers who change some of the parts, which makes it a problem because it's for them. They make money out of you for get sucked in by these assholes. But basically, yes, Konica Minolta are a bunch of assholes, but at least when you're buying the original Konica Minolta, you at least get 5 years. Yeah, 5 years is still pitiful, but it's better than going with a company like Aneo, and Aneo collapsed, and now people can't. And they probably, I don't know how Aneo works, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe their spare part longevity would be less than 5 years, because they're probably more worse than Konica Minolta. They are, because they're rebadge. Now this is a bit too small. We're going to make it a bit bigger to frame it nicely. But yeah, it's a shame that this bloke, this chemist guy, bought an Aneo instead of an actual Konica Minolta. But maybe it was cheaper, and maybe it was just too cheap, and he ends up with a piece of shit that doesn't, whatever. What am I going on too much about this? I think I've said my piece about Aneo and how they rip people off, and they're gone now, so I'd much prefer to buy the original brand, even if it's cheaper to buy, well, Aneo when it was still around. But anyway, let's have a look at this. This looks a bit better, but we're still a little bit off. We're trying to get the sizing a little bit more accurate like all the rest of it. So, okay, so we've got to go a bit bigger than 340. So I think we can go to 340, 44. Okay, we're going 344. So I've got 4% extra on this. So let's see if we can make this one even better. But yeah, it always pays to buy the OEM, but on the other part also is it's best to buy company like Konica Minolta. Can be real assholes to deal with directly. So you'd be better off going to a company like Maytronics, which is what this machine came from. A third party, I think that's what they're called, a third party dealer. Maytronics. I recommend Maytronics if you want a Konica Minolta machine, but don't try to deal with Konica Minolta on your own. It could be fucking disastrous. Or I've read an article on Facebook or a comment on Facebook complaining about poor service, poor customer service. So let companies like Maytronics sort out. Hang on, that's a bit too high. 360, I don't want that. 346 is I think I was after. But basically, if you want to get a Konica Minolta machine, go through a company called Maytronics. They're really good. Much better than dealing with the actual company itself, because they're full of assholes that love money, and they'll rip you off. At least with a dealership, they do all the hard work for you. The servicing, the service agreements and all that shit. So, yeah. So I recommend Maytronics over dealing with Konica Minolta directly. Anyway, this is still too big. But I think we're going to call it quits. We're not going to get too fussy. That looks quite interesting. Gotta go.